little things. I forgot to advertise. Well, hope they join me. If you're watching this by rebroadcast, thank you so much. If you're watching this by a repeat of the video, don't you go anywhere. If you're one of those people that are spiritual in nature, you're just a spiritual person, you firmly believe that you can tap into that divine part of yourself, but yet you're not so airy-fairy, but you know that divinity of yours, the spirituality of yours, connects to everyday living. Your spirituality connects with your business. Your spirituality connects with your education. Your spirituality connects with your love life. Your spirituality connects with your choice of who you're with, who you're not with. When your spirituality connects with everything, when heaven and earth connects, you know that heaven is in your heart and it makes you one with God. And that is a beautiful thing. I'm Ed Montgomery. I've been doing this, helping people connect with their spiritual lives, shining that light in the dark areas where people can see and say, oh, that's me. Oh, I'm able to do that. Oh, wow. You mean to tell me what I thought I couldn't do, I could do? That's what I've been doing for over 45 years. And I've written the books, Heaven in Your Heart, When Heaven is Silent, to be able to break in the spirit of poverty. Not only that, but also have a healing CD that's been 20-something years. I call it a healing CD, although technology's moved to download, but you can go to any of the places, iTunes or any of those places, and get the healing CD. As a matter of fact, it's a meditation CD that people are they're clamoring for it because it's just me reading scriptures, not teaching or preaching, just reading scripture, just letting that wash over you in various translations. You will find it a helpful tool in keeping you healthy, keeping you strong, keeping the spirit strong. I am so glad. This is my master key class. This is what I do every Wednesday when we are in a building. And I have a class that's out there. Hi, class. I know you're out there watching. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for being in class. We are live, and we are going to talk about some good things today. So don't tune out. Stay tuned in, and I don't know. I've just this coronavirus has been overwhelming us, but I think there's spiritual things that speaks to us. We've got to combat all of the stuff that comes into our ears with something that just changes our lives. Let me begin here, because one of the things we've been talking about is about how to assess things. There is something inside of you, inside of your brain, called the visual cortex. And as a matter of fact, I want you to imagine something. It's red, it's blue, well, maybe, I don't know if it's reddish or bluish. It's white, it's got a little black inside of it, and you can hold it in your hand. And I know you're saying, that's not making any sense to me. What are you talking about? Let me show you this. It's a book. I think it's a little reddish, bluish, maybe if not. It's got the white pages, it's got the black ink, and it's this book. You're looking at it, you see it. Now you see it. Now you see it. Did you catch it? Now you see it. Now you see it. Now you see it. You're looking at it with the eyes of your imagination. You're seeing it in your visual cortex, which means that you had to have some kind of image so that when I refer to it, it makes sense to you. What you do not have in your brain, not just that small part of it, but I mean your whole brain, what you don't have in your brain, what's not there, it's hard to relate. I could talk of saints. I could talk of the devil, if you don't have an image of what you think the devil is, if you don't have an image of what you think an angel is, I say angels, people think of wings and things of that sort. But all of us have these images. If I say a rose, all of us have an image in our mind. So when I say the word, you see it. Now, if I say the word rose or like the word book, what you have in your mind, which one is real? Mind or what you just saw on this screen? Now think about it. You're not here with me where you can touch this book. You're seeing it through a screen, through a camera. But when it's gone and you're seeing it in your mind, you're still seeing it visually through a screen, through a camera. Isn't that amazing? Our minds have the ability to visualize whatever it is we can conjure up. And just like you can visualize a rose or a flower or a book, you can also visualize horror. You can also visualize the worst in everything. You can also visualize war. You can visualize just being an angry person. Whatever it is that we're around, if it's in our brain, we can call it up. We can see it. This whole thing about, and this is what's so interesting about this coronavirus, is that it's an enemy that we can't see. It's something that we see. Now, it doesn't consider itself an enemy. The virus itself just wants to live. But to us, it's an enemy. And because we can't see it, and because of the damage that's being done, if they didn't give us the numbers, if we didn't know anything about it, and we didn't see the news reports, we probably wouldn't know what to think. But when you start seeing those numbers of death tolls climbing high, when they show you images of people that are dealing with body bags and all of these different images, now you have that image in your mind. So when somebody speaks of death, you're putting all of that together. And this is where it becomes scary. Because now you're able to have a reference point, now able with mental images to go crazy. There is this passage, this text out of the New Testament, Hebrews chapter 2, and it says that who Christ is and what Christ does for us. It says that he came in order to take death upon himself. Death is not just closing your eyes and being still. Death is being disconnected from what you are, who you are, your spirit, your soul. Being disconnected from your God, being disconnected from what your power is. And it says that Jesus came to take away the fear of death. It's not necessarily about death. It's the fear of death. Fear of death has kept us subject, the text says, to bondage. It keeps us tied up. It is the fear of dying that keeps us our lives just tangled up in knots. So actually what Christ came to do, and the word Christ means anointed, one who is God, has the mind of God, is God himself. That what God came to do was to take from us the fear of death, not death itself, but the fear of it. What we no longer fear, we face. Even though we face it, even though we fear it, we face it. But what we no longer fear, this is what we're able to continue to walk through and not be tied up in. So, not getting too deep into just death, we understand that death to us can mean the images that we see on television. Am I going to have to deal with that? Am I going to have to go through that? So when you go to sleep at night, let me tell you something, when you're watching this stuff all day long And we've been talking about this. When you watch this all day long, the news is pumping in through your phones, through your cell phones, text messages. People, you're hearing stories about it. Then you'll start waking up in the morning. Okay. Maybe you'll hold your breath too long and you're wondering, oh my goodness, is this it? And then that fear and anxiety, what they're discovering is that there's so many cases that are going into hospitals right now that are not necessarily COVID related, but it's just anxiety, fear. And what is it that we're fearing? Is this going to be my last day? Is this going to be my last breath? Am I going to ever see my loved ones again? If somebody goes into a hospital, will my loved ones ever see me again? Am I going to be here alone? And this is what Christ comes to do. He helps us that Christ that lives in us. He helps us to see that we can get through this. We can rise above this fear. You know, I hear people talk about the scripture. You know, I don't walk in fear. I walk in faith. And what they think faith is just finding a bunch of scriptures and putting it in their brains. And if they got enough scripture in their brains, then of course they no longer have any fear. But fear can be there. But at the same time, it's you learning to walk the water, even though you might feel afraid. It's going through a storm, even though you feel afraid. You might be breathing a little shallow, but it's saying, you know what? I can get through this, and you go ahead and go on. It's learning to face things. Why? Why are we able to do it? It's what we do to prepare ourselves. And how you prepare and to prepare who you are is to become enlightened, to become illuminated, to begin to shake up and shape your understanding. I firmly believe if there's anything, what we're dealing with the COVID-19, what we're dealing with on a daily basis, not able to see your friends, not able to do what we want to do, not able to go where we want to go and how we want to go and how we want to do it, is we are learning to begin to make some changes in our lives. And I'm hearing from some of the news reports that we were able to at least flatten out that curve a little bit. And congratulations. Don't take that congratulations too well now. But congratulations, because we've been staying in. What we have to do is put our foot on that pedal even harder now and endure this race. This is the part of the race where we're and you want to give up and you want to stop. But you know that finish line is just up that hill and over on the other side. You can't see it. But everybody that's saying, you know, we're only a few miles away from this, they're telling you it's over there. So you have to keep going. You don't want to run all this far and then give up so close to the finish line. And listen, the finish line is not that we're going to get to that finish line and all of a sudden somebody's going to flip a switch and say, no COVID, bam, no coronavirus. Let's everybody go out there and hug each other, kiss everybody, and love each other. Well, we'll be able to love each other, but this is not the way it's going to work. We've got to slowly begin to move ourselves back into our everyday lives. It's going to not only just take patience. Right now, the word is going to be endurance. This is where we're being enlightened. And I'm helping. Enlightenment means to see clearly. To open. Now is not the time to play basketball and to hang out with our friends. And I was on a radio show. I do a radio show every Monday right here in Houston called the Dr. Ed Show. And I'm able to just talk with people. And one of the callers called in And they were saying that, you know, some of the people out there just having a party, just like it's summer vacation. And this is not the moment for that. We have to endure and endure together, because if we endure together, we literally can change the curve of what this thing is doing. This is what unity is. This is what it means to be one with each other. And it takes enlightenment. It doesn't take somebody pounding on you. Listen, I don't believe anybody ought to pound you and tell you, you know, you better do this. If you don't do this, you know. I think as we learn and we watch, we realize this thing doesn't just hit people who are older. It is people who are younger. It is people middle-aged, young, old. It can hit anybody. So our goal is to realize that by at least taking some endurance and doing what we should do now, we save the lives of people. This thing is not going to go away completely. This is what they're telling us. I know it's not that it's going to go away in May or go away in June and the heat's going to come and it's going to all be gone. That's not what it is. We're going to have to slowly get back into our everyday lives. And then what in the world will our everyday lives look like? There are three things that I believe is enlightenment and what will give us what we need to do our future. Because I'm going to be honest with you, quite possibly, some of the jobs we had, we may not have them. Some of the businesses that were powerful and strong may not be there. Some of the positions in the corporation where we were may not be needed. Some things we used to do, by cutting costs, they're going to discover they're not things that they need to do anymore. Sometimes what you go through, tough moments and tough times, will begin to squeeze things out of you that you never thought was in you, and begin to point you in directions that you never thought you'd go. Career choices, career changes, relationships. I know some of you may be dealing with some relationships now. You're saying, you know, you may not tell that person that you quarantine with, but you're probably saying, Lord, if you let me get out of here, I'll be all right. Just let me get out this place here. And I know who I love and who I don't love. You begin to discover that things are changing. But it takes enlightenment. Enlightenment is how you see. And I'm not just talking about with these two eyes. I'm talking about with that inner vision, how you see. Jesus once dealt with some of his disciples and a group of people that were around him. Disciples are learners under discipline. That's what the word disciple means. And Jesus told them, he said, I am the light of the world. And he that hangs out with me, follows me, shall never walk in darkness. And they looked at him and say, whoa. Then he turns around, I believe that text is out of the New Testament, Matthew chapter 5, I believe, around verse 13, 14, and 15, I think. And then he says something that's totally different from I am the light of the world. Jesus says, I'm the light of the world. Then he says, you are the light of the world. Now, wait a minute. Who's the light of the world? Is Jesus the light of the world, or are we the light of the world? Same phrase, light of the world, is right there when he talks about himself as when he says, ye are the light of the world. Well, in reality, it is the same. We think of Jesus many times as there's God, and then there's Jesus, and then there is us. I'm going to say something. Prepare your ears. The order is not God, then Jesus, then us. Actually, it's God, Jesus, and us. Jesus is not considered to be our God, But Jesus is our older brother. As a matter of fact, you can look in Hebrews chapter 1, Hebrews chapter 2. For some people, they're going to say, blasphemy, turn off the screen. But when you really look at it, you begin to realize that Jesus' whole goal was to get us up to the place with him. And he said, ye are the light of the world. I am the light of the world. Ye are the light of the world. Both of us are the light of the world. The light is in us. The illumination is in us. And then he says to us, let your light so shine that people, that the world can see your good works. Let it shine so the world can see your good work. So the first thing, I'll make sure I'm watching my time. So the first thing is to realize that we are light. We are enlightened people. The goal of right now, I believe, is to explore our ability to be enlightened. How many of you have ever seen or heard that mythical creature called a unicorn? You ever heard of it? Beautiful white horse with this braided horn on the front. The unicorn. We buy our kids unicorns and little horses and things of that sort. Well, the unicorn was actually in the Middle Ages was a symbol of Christ. It's a symbol of the inner life of Christ inside of us. The pureness of that life, the beauty, the newness of life. And so to have light in you means that it expels darkness, the dark thoughts, the fears, the places where we feel unable to be what we really want to be. The places, the challenges that we're afraid that we can't handle. The habits that we feel that we cannot overcome. These are the things, we've kept ourselves very busy before all of this virus. And we were out doing our thing. We didn't want to be alone. We, go to work, then we come home and still stay busy and, Netflix and chill and still stay busy. And then we go out later on that night, stay out at night, come back home, and that's how we lived our lives. We stayed busy, always texting, heads always in our phones. And it got to the point that we never realized what it was like to be alone with our own thoughts, our own fears, our own revelations, I don't know. You tell me, what do you think? What have you discovered about some of the things in your life? Being alone and having to be alone with your thoughts. What has happened to you? Have you discovered that you love yourself? Have you discovered some areas of your spirituality that you never thought? What about patience? Maybe you got a little bit more patience. Maybe you're learning, when I get through this, boy, I had to go through some endurance. You tell me, what did you learn? Make a comment in the comments. Let me know. But that's what light does. Light heals us. When we learn to meditate on light, as we breathe in light, light heals us. When you take the time to see that breath as light going in, healing your heart, causing your anxieties to begin to just fade down. Let light fill the places that would love to explode darkness in your body and in your mind and your emotions. No, it's light. Jesus said, let your light, what light? The light that's in you. The light from, we sing that song, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. In other words, it's not light from up in the sky. It says, Jesus said, let your light, you have a light. Jesus said, I'm the light of the world. You have a light. He says, you are the light of the world. So it means this light is your light. God's light is in Christ. Christ's light is in us. God's light is in us. So we are born with that light. It's just been stretched and scrunched and pushed in and told by people around us that we're unable to do things. We have that's impossible. You can't create that. You can't do that. You can't go here. You can't go there. You can't change courses. You can't become something that you're not. You can't create another business. You can't get your family back together. We've been told that that's darkness. Light enables us not always to move the things that are in the darkness. Because when it's in the darkness, you ever walk around a dark room, you're not familiar with the room, ouch. But when you turn on the light, you can see where you're going. And that's what light does. It doesn't move the obstacles away from us. It's not going to remove the coronavirus. It's going to teach us how to survive it, how to get around it, how to go in other places. I don't know. What time I got? What time I got? What's my time?
25 minutes.
Oh, what time is it? Oh, but
7:55.
Oh, I'm good around time. The next one, number one is light. The next one is life. Light brings life. Jesus said, let your light so shine that, and once again, that's Matthew chapter 5, verse 3. He said, let your light so shine that the world can see your good works. People say, well, I think we just don't need to tell anybody, or, I don't want anybody to know that I did good things. Oh, no, baby, let them know. Tell them. It says, let your light shine so people can see your good works. Let light comes from God. The word glory of God. The word glory means to reflect. We actually reflect God's light. How many of you have been driving downtown or driving down a freeway or been in a car or something, and where the sunlight hits one of those buildings that has reflective windows? And when that sunlight hits your car and you see the sun coming through your window and you're saying, what is the sun doing on that side? I'm supposed to be on the other side. Well, it's not the sun that's moved. The reflection is so strong that it's just as if the sun is over there. This is the way God is in you. The reflection of God in you, when it comes out, people see God. They don't know that's what they're seeing, but that's what they're seeing. And that light becomes life. Jesus said, let it shine among men. They may see your good works and glorify or reflect on the fact that God is real because they see it. Life is the result of light. When you become enlightened, life takes place. And life is, it pushes against death. It pushes against sickness. I'm not saying that every sickness goes away, but I'm saying it pushes against it. That's what prayer is. When we got 2 or 3 touching, praying, it pushes against darkness. This is what life is. I come that you might have life and have it overflowing and complete inside of you. Listen, that doesn't mean I don't cry no tears, man. Girl, it don't mean I don't have bad days. It doesn't mean that I don't have times where I question what's going on in my life. But I realize that it can't stay this way all the time. That's the advantage. Light. Number 2 is life. Light brings about life. And life brings about this third one I'm going to tell you about. But just before I tell it to you, just before I give you this last vibrant point, if you've got a relationship, don't go away from this. Don't leave without this one. If this is going to be the powerful one, this is what's going to get you through. But please remember that during this moment, during this time, we are making sure that we keep bringing to you and keep saying some of the things that help us get through. I promise you, I miss you. I miss you. If I could see your face, I was thinking about doing some kind of Zoom or something where you all could scream at me, some kind of conference call or something where I could just hear your voices just holler and say, hey, hey. I don't know, maybe you can comment and pop a yay in there and say, I hear you, type hallelujah. Don't ask me how to spell hallelujah. You know, I hadn't thought about that. But I miss your voices, and I miss seeing you if you're part of ALC. Thank you so much for all of your generosity, and thank you so much for trying to make sure that we keep this thing even, and we try to make sure that it's keep it as smooth as possible. Yeah, some little bumps in the road, financial bumps in the road that we're going to hit. You're going to hit them. We're going to hit them. We know that, and we may not have seen it in the days to come, or what it's going to be like in the weeks or months to come. But I do know this, that when we tighten our hands, if we get too scared, we'll hold on to little things, and sooner or later, it'll just vanish in our hands. Sometimes you got to take what little that you have. I fish and 5 loaves, and gave to his friends, and it multiplied. People ask me, he says, did it? Well, if it can multiply, just why don't we pray God and ask for it to multiply? But you know what's something that's so interesting about that miracle? There's some people that I was in class with one time, and what they said was, when Jesus broke the two fish and the 5 loaves, it said there were other people among the 5,000 that were there listening to him teach. By listening to him teach and watching him act, they decided to do the same thing. They decided to take what they had and to share it with others. So the miracle was not that some grand power came down and it miraculously multiplied the fish and the loaves. The miracle was that people who held tight to what they had shared it. What I'm asking you to do is to share so that we can keep sharing with others. Take a moment, and if you're watching, you can go to our website, you can give through our website, and that website is myalc.org, all one word, myalc.org, and click to it and click to the donate button, click it. It only takes a few minutes, a minute or so, and you can give right there online and however you want to give. And to all of our members, of course you know how to use it. And if you're visiting for the first time, you say, I want to do it. That's what I want to do. You can give like that. If you're watching through our app, of course that donate button is right there on that app. Take a moment. Make sure you do it today. Don't wait, because as sometimes you have to tackle a moment when you say, I want to give something. And there's a third way you can do it. You can do it by text to give. And our text to give number is on your screen. And that number is 713. I always forget this, don't I?
742
713-742
20305.
2035. 713-742-2035. I got it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got it. And not only that, but we've sent you a piece of, some of you've got some envelopes in the mail that we send as direct mail that we always try to keep in contact with you. And you can always do that at Ed Montgomery. That's our safe, secure P.O. Box. Ed Montgomery, P.O. Box 772-300, Houston, Texas 77215. Your money does not go to Ed Montgomery, but it goes to Abundant Life Cathedral, Abundant Life Center. You can make it out. But they got my name on it to make sure you have a little point of contact. It's Ed Montgomery, P.O. Box 772-300, Houston, Texas 77215. Or you can say Abundant Life Cathedral, P.O. Box 772-300, Houston, Texas 77215. Whatever you do it today. Don't wait too long. But from light to life, number one is light. And light leads, our enlightenment takes us to life. The more we're able to see up here, the more we're able to learn up here about God. When we learn that God is not just up there, but that God is in here. Guess what you just did? You just brought God down from high up, and you brought God into the inner space of your heart. inner space of who you are. You now have not only God in you, but the universe, the power of the universe it is within you now. God is in you. When you know that God is in you, then something else is going to take place. You're not going to carry around all that guilt. When you don't carry around all that guilt, and woe is me, God doesn't love me. All this God has done, sent this to really make my life bad. And when you do that, that's light. That light ultimately becomes life to you. Because when you have light and enlightenment, oh my goodness, you live better. And the more you become spiritually enlightened, the more your life doesn't get easier because things are easier out there, but it's the more you're able to handle things, deal with things, navigate through the rough, jagged areas of life. It's how you're able to steer that boat, and when those little icebergs seek to knock your ship off course, you know how to get around them. You learn to become discerning. You discern things. You strategize better. You think better. You think clear. You hear voices that help you to understand that something might be coming down the road. Try going this way instead of that way. This is what it does. That's 1 and 2. Here's number 3. It's love. You mean to tell me you waited all this time just to tell me it's love? Enlightenment gives us life. And an enlightened life brings about love. And the first person that you love is not your neighbor. It's not your spouse. I know you want to love your spouse. You ought to love your spouse. Or that person, that significant other. I know you love your friend, your partners. I know you love these wonderful people in your life. But your first person you got to love, baby, is you. You got to love you. You got to love that person that you are. You got to love beyond how you got to learn beyond your guilt and beyond your mistakes. You can't look at what others have told you is a horrible person. You got to first of all find that inner place in you, that inner space in you, that you love about you. What do you love about yourself? Are you somebody, you might be angry all the time, but you're faithful. You might be a little slow at what you do and a little lazy at what you do, but you got a good heart and you care about others that are around you. You may not have all the money that you want, and so the people that you would like in your life don't want to hang out with you because you're not on their level. But yet, somebody, you would be the best friend in the world, your loyal friend, your good friend. And I could go on and on, but it begins by loving, finding that place in you, and finding somebody, placing that you love about yourself. Discovery. While you're in this place and locked up, ask yourself the question, what is it about me that I love? Comment. You can tell me. Listen, I'd love to hear it. And it doesn't matter who else hears what you love about yourself. It might be the fact that you love, the fact that you're a happy person. Whatever it is, find that love. Secondly, love yourself enough not to keep sending yourself to hell with guilt and pain. I know. Oh, there's some subjects I love to get into, but there are a lot of people, even sometimes spiritual people who, claim to be nice, godly people, will be the first ones to send you to hell for something they see you do, but never tell you what they do. That's not what you want. You can't hang your hat there. You got to let that guilt go. You said, but what about, we got to get, we can't be going through life just being reckless sinners. The very fact that you see yourself like that or think of yourself like that Means that you're aware of some things in your life that's not good for you. Sinning means to miss the mark. Listen, that means you got some stuff to work on. That's why you got the love. That's why you got the light. That's why you got a life. And now love yourself. Now when you love you, then extend that love to others. Pat somebody on the back a little bit more than normal during this time. Hold a hand a little bit longer. Don't just think about yourself. Don't just think about you. Think about others. Share some things with some other people. Love the people that you're around. And when you love like that, oh my goodness, I promise you, things change. Look, take this moment and realize about your life that there is a God who is not just above you or beside you, to your left, to your right, but a God that is deep inside of you. Now tell me, what is it you want to see? What do you want to do with that light that's in you? You got any questions? Ask me. Write in the comments. And I promise you, I ought to be able to pick it up for next Sunday. It's coming Sunday. It's Sunday at 10:30 a.m. I'll be live. I'm going to be right here with you. And so make your comments. If you got something from this, let me know. I want to hear it. I want to know what you're talking about. And if you think it helped you, if it lifted you, if it gave you something to go forward with, guess what? It'll do the same thing for other people. So guess what you do with it? What we said about breaking the bread. You share. Push that share button. Send it to some of your friends and say, listen, you got to hear this. You got to hear this. I know you got to hear this. Appreciate all your previous comments and all the things, your shares and your views. And I got to go, but I'm going out on Clark Sisters. They're singing, "We're Blessed and Highly Favored." Have you seen them? Have you seen that movie on Lifetime? You ought to see it. Clark Sisters, about their life story. Wow, it's interesting. Thank you so much.